Ladies and gentlemen, the Packers in the playoffs. We are the last seed once again, like last year. We're not taking on the Dallas. We're taking on an NFC East opponent once again, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles. As always, go Pack, go, and let's bring this dub here. Let's bring this dub here. Let's go.
This is Tom Grossi, and you're watching the PackReacts podcast.
Let's go.
Go Pack, go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to PackReacts. I'm your host, Jimmy Hadler, and today we'll be doing a preview of this Packers-Eagles playoff game. We are not talking about much of the Bears-Packers game last week because that was a meaningless game. Of course, that the last play was very bad for the Packers, and I'll get into that part of the game at least for you guys. I'll be here tonight. Mike is not available tonight, unfortunately, so I'll be running the show without him, going solo here tonight. But yeah, so let's go back here of the re-racket from last week of the Packers take on the Bears. Last drive, that was one of the worst coverages I've seen on that last down, where the guy's wide open. That was a big thing to me of annoyance there. You got your two high safeties, X, and your other safety there, Bowler, all the way in the back, and that is not helpful because with that you're creating so much in like the area that's the middle of the field, which is not a bad idea totally because you obviously don't want him to like get down and like get out of bounds real quick and fast, but you don't want to give him too much of the middle of the field because the Bears still had time to spike the ball and kick the game-winning field goal, and that was a bit unfortunate. That was just a bit unfortunate there because Bears win it, and it just let Packer fans get annoyed. Let them get annoyed about it. It was just not great to see, but still, it was a meaningless game, and of course the Commanders won, so the Packers got the 7th seed because of that. So didn't really do much. The only thing in that game was Christian Watson towards ACL. That wasn't great to see. He might be missing a bit of next season too, so that it's going to affect him there. He cannot stay healthy. It's just brutal there, folks. Jordan went down early. He got hit on his funny bone. He does not feel any numbness now if you ask him today, so that's pretty good. And he's supposed to play this week against Philly, so that's good news there. I'll get a bit more into the injury report as we get on there. Yeah, that was a big thing there. Malik got hurt, and the Packers almost came back and won the game too. Just unfortunate miscues and sloppy football from what I saw last week. Like Matt LaFleur is all about being execution of just playing a free, clean game, and that was the complete opposite. It was just not great to see there. So that was a bit unfortunate on the defense side. I mean, overall, I think the defense played very well up until the last drive. Just that design there of that play call. Was not a fan of it personally. Special teams, I mean, Brandon McManus needs to get re-signed this offseason for the Packers. He's definitely our kicker for the future. And that is definitely a big thing for the Packers there. Other things for the special teams, it was terrible to allow that fake punt return of like the guy's all on the other side and he fakes it and the other guy catches it and runs it down the field and gets a touchdown. Just been unfortunate there to see. It's not great to see that. Special teams wise, offensively, I mean, you weren't going to play most of the starters. And again, it was unfortunate that Christian Watson got hurt. Bernie Dobbs, he didn't play because he was sick, but he's good to go this week. Just a bit annoying to see of lack of consistency I want to see from this offense, and it's just brutal there. Malik went down, wasn't great. I was not a fan of Matt LaFleur of some of his that 4th and down end around play with Jane Reed. Just like it's not going to work. Like it works maybe every once in a while, but enough's enough. Like stop using that play call all the time is what I'm a bit annoyed with. So that was a big thing for me there. The other thing was like Matt LaFleur called a timeout with like 2 extra seconds left, which could have instantly killed and won the game instantly because the Bears wouldn't have been able to spike the ball. So that was a big thing to me. Just like obviously you got to talk about it. I'm fine with that, but like you gave them an extra 2 seconds at least. Gave him an extra couple seconds there, so that was really annoying there to me. So yeah, and then the last drive when the Packers finally got the turnover, they didn't get a first down, which would have essentially sealed the game, and you would have won on a game-winning field goal too. So yeah, it wasn't great overall just from that perspective of the game, but we move on. Bears aren't in the playoffs, so Bears still suck, just to give it to you, Bear fans. Packers, they're in. We go on another long road, and we have if this team wants to win, they got to fight it out. They got to go to Philly, go to Detroit if they beat Philly. Then you most likely face the winner of the Bucks, Minnesota Rams, one of those three. I don't see the Commanders really getting into it, but yeah, overall, it's gonna be a tough road for the Packers if they really want to get after it. I mean, the only similarities, if you really want to compare for the Packers to the last time, was they had to go face the NFC East in the first round of the wild card, and that same team was the Philadelphia Eagles when the Packers won the Super Bowl that year. So that's really the only similarity I would say. Really, I mean, yeah, that's the only similarity I would say. But to get into this game here, real quick, I like to start with the injury report updates. Start with my team, then we'll go with the Philadelphia Eagles side. Uh, it was not great yesterday when looking at the injury report of like how many guys are in injury report, because a lot are banged up and you would just like to get them healthy. And almost everyone was limited yesterday except for Slayton and Christian Watson. Of course, Watson's out, and Zane Anderson too. I forgot to mention he's dealing with a concussion, so I don't think he's going to play this week because did not play today. So I think he's going to be out. Bullard, he's dealing with an ankle injury. He played last week, and Minnesota wasn't that great, but you're going to need somebody out there, and he's definitely going to have to go out there. Cooper, he's dealing with an illness in knee. He's been a limited participant all weeks, and I think he'll be able to go, so he'll be good to go, and they really need him. He's looked a lot better, and as we get into this Eagles-Packers preview, both teams are a lot different than when the last time they played each other week 1, so yeah, I'm really hoping Cooper is able to be fully good and fine, which I expect him to be. Brandon Cox dealing with a foot injury. He's a limited participant this week. Andre Dillard, the former Philadelphia Eagle, dealing with a concussion. He's a limited participant this week. I don't think he'll start for the Packers, but you always need an extra man. You need a cavalry to show up, is what I'd say in this. Romeo Dobbs, dealing with an illness. He's been a full participant the past 2 days, so he should be good to go. Jordan Love, dealing with a right elbow injury. He's been banged up so far this season. It's just been annoying to see. Like week 1, his season almost ended. Like the second to last play of the game, which was just terrible to see. He was a limited participant yesterday, full participant today. We'll have to see what Friday goes. He's not dealing with any numbness like he did during the game, which felt it. He's feeling a little sore. That's definitely a factor of the right elbow injury there for him. But yeah, just a bit helpful there. And then TJ Slayton, I was big concern after there was a report today he didn't practice, and did not practice yesterday. He's dealing with ankle injury. I'm like, Packers really need him, especially for the run defense, and the Packers run defense looked good so far, and he's one of the main reasons why he looks so good. And the report came out today he was a limited participant, so that's a good sign to hear because he needs to play for the Packers to make sure that the run defense doesn't completely collapse as it always has in the past. The season's been good, so we'll get to that. Quay Walker, dealing with ankle injury, has been a limited participant all week. So that's pretty good. He hasn't played in a couple weeks, so it's good that you need him out there to get your 2 linebackers back, like with Cooper. Watson, of course, did not practice because he has a torn ACL, so prayers out to him and his family. Hopefully he gets back and stronger, just like to see that. Evan Williams, the safety, dealing with a quad injury. He's been a limited participant all week, and they need him to go. I really think if he gets in, if he's able to go, that's a great sign for the Packers secondary to help him out. I think he's a great playmaker, even though he's a rookie. He can definitely help this Packers team out, especially help this Packers defense out against the Philly offense. I think that's a big thing. Malik Willis dealing with a right thumb injury because he cannot throw it when they were attempting that 2-point conversion. He had a guy right there, and if he was able to throw it, he would have had him and tied the game. But he didn't get that, so that wasn't great. But he was a limited participant today. He's a full participant, limited yesterday, full today. So that's a big thing because if Jordan goes down, it's going to be Sean Clifford if we can't get Malik Willis. And I'm not too confident with Sean Clifford. So, yeah, Malik Willis, that's a big thing if Jordan Love goes down, it's always nice to have your backups to be ready as well, just in case if something tragically happens to Jordan Love. Hopefully it doesn't happen, knock on wood. But yeah, it's always good to have your backup there. And then to get to the Philadelphia Eagles side for injury reports, AJ Green, limited participant yesterday, did not participate today. He's dealing with a knee injury, and he also got rest. And the plan was, according to Philly reporters and the Eagles, said that it was planned that he was not going to participate today because they just wanted him to relax and try to get him fully rested up, ready for Sunday's game. So I think he's going to play. He could be I don't think he's obviously not going to be a little rusty, but he could be a little limited of just not get everything that you would normally see out of like a full AJ Brown healthy wise, but little injured, so that could limit him like some plays here and there. Not totally, but like limit him one player, couple plays here and there, I would say. You got the tight end Grant Calcaterra. He's dealing with a shoulder injury. He's a full participant, so he should be good to go. Nakobe Dean dealing with an abdominal injury. He's been a full participant, so he should be good to go. Jack Driscoll, the offensive tackle, he's dealing with an ankle injury. There was no designation of him yesterday, but he's been a limited participant today, so he should be fine, but he doesn't start for the Eagles. Dallas Guard, he played last week dealing with knee injury. He's a full participant, so that is one big thing that I think is going to be big for Packers defense because they usually don't do well against the tight ends and so far this season. So that's going to be a big thing. Bryce Huff, the defensive end, dealing with wrist injuries, a full participant, so he should be good to go. Jalen Hurts, I mentioned before, still in the concussion protocol, also dealing with a left finger injury, not his throwing hand. Just to give you folks, he was the limited participant yesterday, full participant today. I think he's going to play. Just going to say it. He's going to play, so won't be surprised. But he's about out of the concussion protocol, so we'll have to wait and see on Friday to see how it goes. But yeah, it'll be definitely interesting there. Lane Johnson just getting rest. He was a limited participant today. Trevor Keegan, guard, dealing with illness, did not participate yesterday or today. You have to wait and see for him, but he doesn't start either. Kenny Pickett, the backup, the quarterback, dealing with a ribs injury, and you saw it against Dallas. He really got banged up and hurt. He was a limited participant yesterday, and today. So have to wait and see if he's going to be the backup. I mean, they got McKee as well, so they don't have to worry really much about Kenny Pickett. All they really have to worry about is just Jalen Hurts just be able to go for Sunday for you Eagle fans. You got Will Shipley, the backup, with Kenneth Gainwell, but Will Shipley's another backup, the running back. He's dealing with ankle injuries, limited participant all week. So he could be good to go. Byron Young, dealing with a hamstring injury. He's been a full participant all week. So I think you should go, and that is your injury report, ladies and gentlemen. That is the injury report. So that's to give you the news up there, wise, for the injury report status. But I think the big things with this game is who's going to have time possession. I think that's going to be a big factor when you go back and you kind of watch this Packers-Eagles game, and you look at the previous Packers-Eagles matchups, like if you the regular season the last couple of years, every time I've seen it, it's always time possession. That has been a big factor, I would say, in this matchups in between these two teams. Whoever gets it has been able to win the game majority of the time. So I think that's a big factor. Turnovers, that's a big factor. Packers defense lives on turnovers. So does the Philadelphia Eagles defense. They live on turnovers as well. So that's big things to me, folks, of just that. Then you look at consistency, which Eagles offense is consistent. The Packers offense, it is consistent, but lately it has not been consistent, is what I'm going to say. So consistent throughout the season for the Packers, but past couple of weeks it hasn't been, despite the Packers putting up a lot of points against Minnesota and putting up a certain amount of points against the Bears last week. So consistency is a big thing. Running the ball, I think, is going to be a big factor with these two teams because you got to watch out for Saquon Barkley, arguably the best running back in the league. I would say he is this season. And you got my team with Josh Jacobs. He's been fantastic this season. So that's going to be a big thing. The trenches is huge. I think it's really huge because both defenses are going to have to try and limit the running back, the great running back. Then offensive line, right back at it. They got to dominate and pass protect. And I think the big thing that concerns me with the Packers is going to be the pass rush because the pass rush has not shown up lately. It really has not. That has got to wake up if the Packers really want to take a stroll and try to attack this Eagles offensive line. That's going to be a big thing the pass rush to step up. But again, big things, time possession, trench, running backs, of just how to say of like who can win the time possession, turnovers. I think this is obviously it's cliche, but I will say like whoever makes a few mistakes. Whoever makes mistakes and capitalizes on whichever team capitalizes on the opponent's mistakes. That's a big thing because saw in week 1, Packers got some of the turnovers, like you saw Xavier McKinney's interception or a fumble with Jalen Hurts. You saw that, and the Packers couldn't put a touchdown. Red zone is obviously going to be huge, and the Eagles' defense is very good in the red zone. Packers' defense is not so great in the red zone. So that's a big mismatch there. Gives the Eagles the favor there for them. So that's a big thing to me there. I mean, overall, if you really want to look at it on paper-wise, when you compare the two teams, Eagles are better on paper-wise if you want to look at it entirely. But for the Packers, you always want to get counted out. It's the big thing because every time the Packers get counted out, they shock the world. They shock the world and they get it going. So I think that's a big thing. Like you could say on paper, and the Eagles supposed to win and everything. Like the line, I think it was like four. I think it was like by 4.5. I think it was the line for the Eagles. But still, I mean, it's gonna be a good game overall. I just think for the Packers' sake that you got to win the time possession. You got to make few mistakes than Philly, and that's obviously crucial. Like you got to play complimentary football. Like less flat. You got to not have that many like crucial flags in the game. And it's against Brad Allen. Brad Allen is one of the guys who will throw the majority of the flags. So that's a big thing. Then time possession. I think for the Packers, their formula is what they're going to try and do. For my guess, knowing Matt LaFleur, is he wants to get the ball first and he wants to get it going. He wants to get an early lead and start the opening drive on fire. He wants to get this Packers team get going real quick and fast. That is something I think is big thing to Matt LaFleur. Now, I won't be opposed to getting the ball second half. I think that would also be crucial because I think with that, you want to run the ball, and that's the most important thing with this Packers offense. You got to run the ball. And with that, you want to have the time possession. Like I mentioned, it's going to be a key matchup. You want to control the second half. You want to control that. The first half, you put up as many points as you want. Great. The second half is when it matters the most of how much time's left in the game before it's over. That's a big thing to me. So obviously the Packers got to run the ball. That is a big thing to me because you got to run the ball, run. Because if you don't run the ball, you're not winning this game. You got to win. You got to run the ball, and that's even with the Philadelphia Eagles. Is both of these guys got to run the ball until that defensive line collapse for both sides. That has got to be the formula for both sides. And another big thing for the Packers is the drops. You cannot drop the crucial plays. You just cannot. And that has been a crucial thing for the Packers offense with the receivers the past couple of weeks. So hopefully that gets turned around. That's a big thing to me. But what do I want to see out of this Packers team is get the confidence, get that mentality, and hopefully I don't want them to be too overly confident, but have a lot of confidence though, because it did work last time when the Packers played the Eagles in the playoffs with too much overconfidence. Great, it worked out for them there. But I feel like today you can't be too overconfident because the Eagles are going to be going right back at you. They're going to try and fight you out and try to win this battle the whole time. So can't be too overconfident, but you got to have confidence in yourself and get ready to go. That's the big thing. You can't have no confidence. You got to have confidence going into it. So that's a big thing to me there. I just think with this Packers team, it's just they're right there. They can battle with good teams, and obviously the record is they cannot beat a great team this season. However, they can fight. They can fight till the very end. At least I give it to them. They made it very close with the Eagles game, both Lions games, both Viking games. None of them were complete blowouts. I mean, the first game for the Vikings and both of the Vikings games were blowouts until like the Packers started waking up the fourth quarter and everything and started to get it going. But like that cannot happen for the Packers. You got to play all four quarters. You can't just wake up in like the fourth quarter, the late third quarter, and just start putting up points and try to hope like the best is like, oh, we can win this game. Like you got to play all four quarters. You just got to play like you get like if it's not going well for the Packers in like the first half of the game, you got to keep the point margin close. If you can keep it to like within a touchdown, within 3 points, like, and it's not going great for you, that's good. Second half is when you wake up, is when you get it going and everything. So I think that's gonna be a big thing. Is just playing all four quarters and having complimentary football is a big thing, is what I say for the Packers team. Now they're going into the Philadelphia environment, and Philly fans, and I know it very well because I'm a Philly Sixers Flyers fan. It gets loud in there. It's very hostile, like the loud environment for the Eagles. It's just different. It's different than majority of other stadiums. Like the Eagle fans, like they're very passionate and very loud, is what I'd say. Especially when you watch their games. It's very loud and passionate is what I always see from the Eagle fans. But the goal is, well, one of the big things since I've known, especially the Sixers, and I would say the Flyers and Phillies, but mostly the Sixers because of how terrible they are in the playoffs, is once you get like the Philly teams, the Philly sports teams like going bad, like in the middle of the game, those fans start to boo heavily at their own team, and they just ridicule, just try to like eat them up and everything with like just terribleness. So if you get the boos going very throughout the majority of the game, or you get those "Go Pack Go" chants, which there will definitely be a "Go Pack Go" chant, I would say, at this game, like you're definitely going to hear it. Even with majority of Eagle fans there, like you're going to hear it. Might not be very loud, but you're definitely going to hear it. I will say you're definitely going to hear it. So Eagles have definitely advantage of the atmosphere and everything there, so that's going to be very huge. Yeah, I think it's going to be very huge. Now, Jordan Love, obviously Toyota fun. He's done fine there, but honestly, he's not what he was like last year when he was like putting ridiculous stats up and everything. I think Jordan's been a little bit more conservative. He's taken those shots, but he's been a little more conservative because they've been so committed to the run. That's a big thing, and that's why the offense has succeeded so well this season because of Josh Jacobs. And it's like this is Battle of Fleurs' like biggest season with like running the ball so much. Like that's one of the reasons why they're succeeding this season. But Jordan, he's gonna have to make those throws. He's gonna have to make those tough throws, especially in the red zones when you really got to capitalize or try for those deep balls because there's gonna be a bunch of deep balls I will say for this Packers game. I mean, the weather's supposed to be fine. It's not supposed to be like terrible. Like if you want to compare to the Packers 49ers game last year, it's so rainy. It's not supposed to be like terrible, like wet, rainy game. It's not supposed to be that at all, guys. It's not supposed to be. So I think with Jordan, you just gotta be confident. He trusts himself, and I trust him to go out there and just put on a show for the Packers. I think he's gonna do good out there, but it's gonna. I do think it's gonna come down to the last play too, like the last drive. Like who's gonna be able to come out on top of that last play? Like it's gonna come down to the final play. That's what I'm gonna say to that. And I do think it's gonna be a low scoring game than most people think it's gonna be. I just think it's gonna be low scoring game because I think both defenses are gonna be ready for the test of what's about to come to them. Whether it's the Eagles just doing like ready for the run against Josh Jacobs, or the Packers ready for Saquon Barkley too, and vice versa, like wide receivers. I mean, I think the interesting thing that kind of gives us the advantage, and I will say with this Packers receivers, when you don't have a number one wide receiver that everyone knows who you're going to go to, whereas like the Eagles, you kind of know with AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, you kind of know sort of way there. The Packers, you don't know. You just don't know who's going to be the shining star. Like it could be randomly it could be Jane Reed, for example, or Dontavian Wicks. Like it could be a random Packer. And that was one of the reasons why the Packers won against Dallas. That was one of the big reasons why they crushed them. And why? Because Dallas didn't know who was going to go where, and Packers receivers are beating them in like coverage of man-to-man, zone coverage, whatever you want, whichever both coverages, and Packers receivers kept beating them and winning those battles. So I think it's going to be a big thing with that. I mean, Packers receivers got to step it up. And I think a big guy is going to step it up has got to be Jeremy. He's fallen off, I would say, for a bit. Like, he hasn't been the same guy. Like, if you want to go back to when the Packers played the Eagles last time, like, he was the main star, main show for that. You got to get him more involved, and you got to build confidence. He's got to get more confidence in catching this ball. Dontavian Wicks has got to catch the ball a lot more, especially when you have a 50% drop rate of when you be able to catch the ball and whatnot. That's a big thing. A guy will catch the ball. That's a big thing. Secondly, with the Packers, you run the ball. Is what a big thing. Offensive line, you got to be ready for those blitz. I won't be surprised with Vic Fangio, especially when Packers are used to Vic Fangio's defense because it's the same defense that Joe Barry ran when he was the defensive coordinator for the Packers and Mike Penn and Don Capers. Packers offense is used to that. I will say that. So that's no surprise in there. So we're kind of used to what the Eagles' formation, coverage, and defensive schemes is. They're not surprised by that. But again, you get the offensive line has got to be ready for those blitzes, and they got to be able to shut down the pass rushers. They got to be able to do a good job, and majority of the time they are doing a great job. The one time I would say when they are doing completely bad, I would say was when they were playing. Well, I would go a couple times here and there. It was the Vikings game. They weren't giving Jordan Love a lot of time. He just kept getting destroyed. The pocket kept collapsing. Everything wasn't great to see that. When you go to the Lions game, it was even against the third string guys and the second backups. The backups were beating the Packers starting offensive line. It wasn't great. It was not great. So that's a big thing is you got to protect Jordan Love as much as you can. You got to protect him. You got to protect him as much as you can. So that's a big thing. And one big thing I do want to see is see a bit more Tucker Kraft. I want to see Tucker Kraft more involved in this offense because every time he gets the ball, he shines. He does amazing out there for the Packers. He does so well for them. So I really would like to see Tucker Kraft action more. I would just like to see it. If you could give me more Tucker Kraft plays, everything, I would like to. I mean, if you do a screen Tucker Kraft play, like that's awesome. And I know if it's third and short or 4th and 1 and like everything, it's like you do Tucker Kraft shove like instead of the love shove. Like I like the Tucker Kraft sneak play. Like that's one of my. I really like that with Tucker Kraft. I think it's a great call Matt LaFleur does with Adam Stanovich and everything. That's a big thing. But again, with this offense, you got to be able to score. You got to be able to get points off the turnovers. You got to do very well in the red zone. That's going to be a big thing for this Packers offense. Special team wise, I mean, for the Packers, when they're kicking it off, you're dealing with Cooper DeJean, you're dealing with Will Shipley, like rookie guys. They really haven't been like super like Devin Lester, for example. They're not like the guy like, oh my goodness, I gotta stay away from him. You gotta kick it to the touchback every time. Like, no, that you're not dealing with that. Cooper DeJean and Will Shipley, you're not dealing with that. I think you got to make those tackles. Like, you can't give the Eagles so much like great field position. You can't get them out to like the 40-yard line of their own, the 50-yard line, the 40-yard line of your own. Like, you can't allow that. You just can't allow that. So you got to make the stops there. I wouldn't mind the touchbacks. I mean, personally, I wouldn't mind it, but this Packers special teams can make the stops and take it down there. That's great to see. Brandon McManus has done a phenomenal job, so that's gonna be a big thing of like be clutch. That's gonna be a big thing. Special teams on like when you have to block the field goals or blocking a punt, which is not gonna happen this Packers game. They never block a punt. The last time I saw the Packers block a punt was when it was the Packers Minnesota Vikings game back in like 2018, I want to say, and that was when we ended a tie. But still, I think the Packers got to do a lot better. I think they got to do a bit better job with the special teams, especially coming off last week when it was just terrible seeing from that. Majority of the part they were fine, but it's just like there were some plays and they just gave the Bears too much field possession and it was just like changed the whole momentum of the game, I would say too, because the Bears didn't get great field position. They couldn't do anything. But when they got good field position, they could score every time. So that wasn't great to see there. So that's a big thing to me there, just to see that. Yeah, I would just say that. Then what else? I mean, if you could block a field goal, like if you want to get like another like TJ Slane, Brandon Cox, or Mosby and just get that fingertip, like go ahead, be my guest. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love to see it happen. I would just love to see it, but I don't think it's going to happen. Keyshawn Nixon, I want him to run the ball. And I don't think Eagles going to give him really many opportunities, but if he gets that chance, run the ball. I would like to see that. Just Just hold on to the ball, and that's a big thing for the Packers offense and defense. And if you get the ball on defense and special teams, is hold on to that ball, hold on to the ball, just hold on to it. That's what I'd say is a message to them. But with Keyshawn Nixon, you let him run it out, he's going the distance, and he's going everywhere. So I'd like to see that. Jane Reed, he's got to do a lot better job, especially in the punt returns. Like, you got to be able to signal to the Packers if like stay away. If you're not going for it, make sure everyone's out of the way, including yourself, because you almost cost it last week when you got a fumble. You almost cost a fumble for the Packers by almost touching it when you kept saying everyone to stay away and you didn't realize yourself. So you got to do a better job with that. That's a big thing to me for that. Yeah, big thing for that on special teams is just there's got to be a lot better communication on that. Communication has got to be a big thing, and that's one of the things that cost them last week in that last drive against the Bears to the defense. He didn't communicate on that last play. Like, Miles Fleur had timeout, could have called timeout right then, like he called when they're about to kick the field goal for the Packers. Like, you got to use it. You got to think a lot better, and time management a little bit better, guys. You got to do that. But yeah, and then defensively, I think just to go back to it, I think the big thing with like Hurts and Saquon is like if you can limit both of them to like 110, 120 like yards combined, that's pretty good. Now, Saquon, like everyone says that Saquon had like a great game against the Packers. When you really look at it, he had a few explosive plays. Like maybe there was about 3 explosive plays, then plus the touchdowns. But if you take those explosive plays out, the Packers did a great job overall of like stopping Saquon and like maintaining like that line breakout and everything. They did a good job of that for most of the part of the game. But that's gonna be a big thing because Saquon is known for those like big runs every time because that is definitely a big thing, and that's why the Eagles have succeeded on offense is because of Saquon Barkley. So that's a big thing there. Then AJ Brown, that's gonna be a big thing to stop, and same thing with Devontae Smith. Like, you gotta hope those CBs can get very healthy or like get less banged up is what I'd say. You gotta hope for that for the Packers' sake and the defense wise. I mean, AJ Brown, like he's gonna have a good game. Same thing with Devontae Smith. He's gonna have a good game. Dallas Goedert, you gotta watch out for him because the Packers don't do well against the tight ends for some reason. They didn't do well against them for some reason this season. It just hasn't been their way for them. So that's a big thing for that. And then obviously the big thing is you contain Jalen Hurts. You cannot like as I mentioned, if stopping Barkley and Hurts, you got to contain Hurts. And the Packers did a good job overall against Hurts, and they did let Hurts get out a couple times here and there, especially when it was like a more important play and he got the first down to pretty much end the game. But when you watch the Packers team, they have done well in contain quarterback. They've done well in that. I would give them credit for that. Now, sacking Hurts is going to definitely be a big thing because he doesn't get sacked that much. He's a tough dude, and he's hard to bring down. And if it's like Rashawn Gary going the far outside, and he's wide gap for like Hurts to like cut through and everything, that's a big thing. So if you can contain Hurts, that's going to be a good thing. Contain him as much as you can. If you're able to get a sack on Hurts, that's great. That's great. I give you credit for that. But the big thing is definitely going to have to contain Hurts. Definitely got to contain him as much as you can. That's a big thing there. So that's what I say for defense-wise. I mean, trenches, like, the Packers defensive line is not going to dominate the trenches. It's just not. Now, I think it could put up a good fight, but overall, I think the Eagles' offensive line is going to win it. I think it is, but if you could limit Barkley as much as you can and Hurts of like running out of the pocket and everything, that's great. I'll give you credit for that. Offensively, I mentioned before, red zone, it's going to be a big thing. Be consistent. Like, when the time possession, run the ball. Do not make too many mistakes because flags have cost this team some drives and it just really hurt them. Yeah, I think that's just the message I would say for this Packers game is combat football. Like, you've done combat football all year long, like for majority part, and this team can fight. This team can fight. Now the pressure is all on Philly. Packers is all on Philly because they're at home. I think it's the line again. I think it's like 4.5 favorites. That's the big thing. you can stop them there. Then you look at, 4.5 on the Eagles is the line. The pressure's more on them. Packers, again, it's kind of similar to house money. However, it is different though this year. I would say a little bit. Even despite you're playing the NFC East as the second seed and you're the seventh seed last year, I expected the Cowboys to be more disappointing. They would more likely lose the first round than the Eagles. I would expect that. But you cannot take the Eagles for granted. You got to respect what the Eagles have done this season, and you got to watch out because they got a lot of playmakers, and you got to give credit to them. That's a big thing for me. That's a big thing for them. So that is what I would message plays commentary football, time possession, turnovers. You got to win the turnover battle. It's going to come down to last play. Who's going to be the guy to make who's going to make the great play? That's me the question. It could just be a random guy, or it could be one of the most notable guys, whether it's Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, or Jalen Hurts for the Eagles. Packers, Jordan Love, Xavier McKinney, because he's known to be very good on the defense and has made a lot of plays, and he's got a lot of interceptions this season. Josh Jacobs, is it just going to be that random guy like Tucker Kraft to get the game-winning touchdown? It could be, but that's got to be that's the thing for the Packers is who's going to make that last play? Who's going to step up? Is the next man mentality. It's you got to step up. We've been battling through the injuries all year, and we're supposed to get the cavalry back this week with our linebackers. Hopefully we get Evan Williams, because I think a big thing when you look at this injury report, and I was mentioning earlier, is obviously Jordan Love, and I think he's going to play, and that goes the same thing for Jalen Hurts for the Eagles. But with the Packers, Dobbs is going to play. He's got to play. That's a big thing, and he will play. TJ Slane has to play if you want to stop the run and you want to limit the Eagles. If you want to limit the Eagles with the run game, you want to try to take the run game out as fast as you can. That's a big thing. Quay Walker, he's got to play, because I think when you have those two, when you have Cooper and Walker going, that's going to be a good thing. I think that's going to be a good thing. Evan Williams, need a safety back there because Bowler has not been great, and you got Zane Anderson down. And Evan Williams is a playmaker, so I definitely think he could play that role. So I think he's definitely crucial for the Packers' defense. So I think those guys are very important. And then just to throw in there, Malik Willis, just in case if something terrible happened to Jordan Love, hopefully not, knock on wood. But you would like to have the backup ready, then you would prefer him than Sean Clifford for the Packers. So that's what I would say for the Packers, guys. That's what I would just say, just to hope it out for you guys. That would be my message. That would be literally my message for the Packers, to just go out there. You're not afraid, but be confident in yourselves. Trust yourselves. Trust your teammates. Everything like that. Go out there, play all 4 quarters from the turnover battle. Limit the explosive plays defense, which they've done a great job, and I give them credit for that. Offensively, create those explosive plays. You want to be able to drive the boats. You want to be able to drive the car. And one of the big things that I always say to this Packers team is always one of my favorite sayings is for a football team or sports is all gas, no brakes. That's the Packers. They got to go all gas, no brakes if they want to really make it to the Super Bowl. And I think this team could make it if they beat the Eagles. If they can really put on a show against us. Now, I think it really depends. If the Packers want to really make a big run to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, everything, it all starts in Philly. Take one game at a time. You're not thinking about Detroit if you win this week. You're not thinking about the NFC Championship. You're not thinking about New Orleans if you want to go to the Super Bowl. You're taking one game at a time. Goal is for you to go 1-0. Every team is 0-0 in the playoffs right now. Nobody has won yet. Got to take it one game at a time and at it. That's a big thing for this Packers team. You got to take it one game at a time, win one game. Take it one game at a time, go 1-0 every week. That's a big thing. That's what I would say for this Packers team. So, yeah, that's what I would say to give you guys a preview of the Packers-Eagles game here. I would say that. So, I think that's going to be crucial there for the Packers. Is just you go out there. It's going to be a hostile environment like it always is in Philly sports games. You just got to go out and win. Go out there. Don't be afraid. Feel confident. Don't be afraid. Take some chances, but don't overdo it and throw too many interceptions or fumble the ball. Don't throw the ball so much or make too many mistakes. That's a big thing. Just go out there, be yourself, have the confidence, and get it going. Let's go. that's what I would say to give you guys the preview for the Packers here, and hopefully the Packers can get the dub here. If I were a betting person to give you it to guys, I think the Eagles are going to win by 3 points. For my optimism as a fan, I think the Packers can win it by 4. I think they could win this game. I think this Packers team can win it. They haven't been able to beat the good teams this year, but they're able to stay in a fight for them. Prove the doubters wrong. Shock the world, Packers. Shock them. You've done before. Do it again. Why can't you do it again? That's my saying for the Packers, is you got to do it again. So, score-wise, to give it to you, since I said Packers by 4, I will go to, because I think it's going to be a low-score game, I will go 21-17 Packers for that. And if I'm a betting person, because I said the Eagles for that, and I said by 3, I will go 23-20. I think it's going to come down to the last play. I think it's going to be a low-score game. And I don't think it's going to hit. I don't think it's going to be like the 40s. I don't think it's going to be the high 30s, maybe the high 20s, maybe at that point. But like still, I don't think it's going to be like a huge high-scoring game. And I think it's, to me, I think it's the most intriguing matchup when you look at the entire playoff schedule for the game so far. I mean, obviously got the Chargers, Houston. I don't think it's like that close. Like it's being that intriguing. No offense to those two teams, but I don't think it's going to be compared to the Packers Eagles. Like, I think we're definitely going to have a great matchup, and the line is 4.5 for the Eagles. Just to give it to you guys, as I mentioned before, I think that's the most intriguing matchup. I think Buffalo's going to beat Denver. Baltimore, I think it's going to be closer now because of Zay Flowers, despite the line being, oh my goodness, Baltimore's favored by 9.5. So still, and Buffalo's favored by 8 against Denver. I think for the wild card game, I think this is the most intriguing. The other game I would say is the Vikings and Rams. I think that's going to be the other intriguing game. But I think that's going to be. I think the Packers Eagles game is going to be a good game. Hopefully the Packers get the dub. If not, well, great season overall. Then couldn't get the job done in the playoffs. Like that's just disappointing. But not a rebuild. Not a rebuild, Packers. When we could have been in a rebuild with Jordan Love. We could have honestly beat, but we're not. So, yeah. I mean, we got a bright future, but it all comes Sunday. Sunday is when it's going to happen. So, hopefully, the Packers get the job done and get it done, hopefully. But, yeah. But that's my preview, guys, just to give you to give you a little bit of a run here as we're going on close to an hour here. But just to keep it short, because I'll keep this stream short for you guys. Yeah, you just say that. Just to give you some content-wise on the YouTube channel. If you haven't checked out my GOAT series for the Miami Dolphins, go check that out. Would appreciate it just to give you who's the greatest player of all time in Dolphins franchise history. Go check that out. You can. I will have my other GOAT series video up this Saturday. I will probably have it, which is the Jacksonville Jaguars. So be tuned to stay out for that. Despite how everything's going Jacksonville, which it's not great. If you look at it with Doug Peterson gone. GM is not doing great. He's retained, even though he has had 3 head coaches within the last couple of years. Not great for that. So it's not great for the Jaguars, but stay tuned for my GOAT series video for that. And if you've not already checked out my playoff hype trailer video for the Packers, please make sure to go do that. It is fantastic to go see it. It gives you the chills and the vibes ready for that playoff atmosphere and ready for the NFL playoffs. So make sure to go check that out. It has gotten over 8,000 views, so I appreciate everyone that's watched it so far. Appreciate it. It could break my all-time record, which my all-time record is 20,000 views, and that was the first Packers playoff hype trailer video I ever did. So hopefully, I can maybe break it. I don't think it'll break it personally, because I think it'll maybe get up to close to it, but I don't think it might eventually break it at the end of the month, maybe, but right now it has a good shot. It's at 8,000 views, and we're about close to it, so hopefully. But again, folks, appreciate everyone tuning in. Please make sure to go check out those videos. If you want Packer content, this is the right channel for you to listen to. And if you want to check out PackReacts, obviously we're on the YouTube channel here for my Packers of Jeremy Hadler. And if you want to go check out our Twitter page of what it's now called X is PackReacts, make sure to go check that out. And I've slacked off on the Spotify. I have not been able to upload. I've been a bit busy, so I will eventually get back to that when I have more free time with that. But yeah, folks, be a great game. Hopefully the Packers take the dub. Just hoping for it. And as always, go Pack, go baby, go Pack, go. Let's get the dub, baby. Let's go. It's Jordan Love time, Packer time. This is the road. If you want to go to the Super Bowl, go Pack, go baby, go Pack, go. Have a great